Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another weather forecast here by Age Weather Forecast. This will be another tropical update here, and Invest 91L has officially formed here off the coast of Florida here and could possibly strengthen to maybe a tropical storm. And if it will be our second name system will be Bertha and could very well likely make landfall on the southeastern coast. Obviously, this is going to be tracking it as we continue to get the new updates from the National Hurricane Center and also many other model outlooks. So we're going to continue to keep a close eye on this, as this could very well likely be our first U.S. landfall, but not only that, our first landfall of the not official season because it starts in June 1st, but our first landfall of technically the season here of 2020. So also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Let's try to get to 2,350 subscribers by the end of today. We are so close. Also, please share the video to anybody that you know that lives in South Carolina or North Carolina, because they can definitely get affected by possibly maybe a tropical storm Bertha within the next possibly 24 hours, if not 30 hours. So please share the video. But without further ado, this is the tropical update. If we look at the NHC right now, we have our new updated highlighted area for potential tropical formation here, tropical storm formation. As he has now gone up to a 30% chance for the formation probability here. So we could definitely have flash flooding in these areas regardless of any formation. So even if it's not formed as a tropical storm here, or even a tropical depression, this could very well still bring flash flooding, damaging winds, and also power outages throughout these areas off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. So here's at the 30% chance throughout the next 48 to 5 days. So from now on to the next 5 days, we have a 30% chance, a low chance for seeing tropical development here. So could very well see something likely. The next update will be at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. If it is earlier if necessary. So I do think this could very well possibly be at a 40 to 50% chance by the next update here. We're going to keep a close eye on this right now. So let's go ahead and see that one area of 30% chance for development. So it has gone up compared to earlier this morning, which I did predict this to go up compared to the last time we checked. As you see, it's actually a lot more organized compared to today, but it's still not super organized, so it's like a mess at this point. Here, the low pressure off the coast right here. And we're seeing all this cloud cover, this very dense cloud cover, all of this precipitation to the east, to the west of the low pressure system. As you see, it's not even too far whatsoever, this cloud cover from the Carolinas. We're actually seeing this cloud cover from the system actually over Georgia and South Carolina and the coast. But this low pressure is mostly right here, so it's not extremely close, and it's not going to be hitting Georgia, so it's not going to be hitting within the next 12 hours or 24 hours. It's going to be going right here, so it has all this ocean, all this still left to go. So it is still not finished yet, because this is not the center. This is not it. It's for like more likely right here. This low pressure. So whenever we got that defined low pressure, so we are starting to see some more a lot more vorticity based on earlier today. Starting to see some more convection here. Starting to see some more vorticity, rotation, cyclonic rotation, or whatever you want to call it. This is what we're seeing. Starting to see a bit more, of course, not super organized because it's still an invest, but could very well see this. Maybe see if we, when the next update, National Hurricane Center, are going to be looking to see, are we seeing more vorticity? Are we seeing some stronger winds? All of that for the next 3 a.m. update. As we now look at the conditions out here, we are seeing warm or above average SSTs or sea surface temperatures throughout these areas for the southeastern coast off the U.S. Off U.S. soil or the U.S. coast. So definitely seeing very favorable conditions for the SSTs. Of course, it's not the only thing that's in mind. Also, we'll have to watch out, or we have to keep in mind of the moisture, also the dry air. See, we're just going to look at if there's any humidity. Also going to keep and look for the wind shear as well. If there's a lot of wind shear, this thing could very well stop forming and fall apart. But that's not the case. We're going to be seeing actually very little wind shear in this area. Of course, this is expected to be going up throughout the coast and possibly affect North Carolina and South Carolina. And as you see, these warmer waters are right in between where it is right now to the coast. So very, very favorable conditions right here. And if it does stay in the water, obviously the more it stays in this water, the more it will strengthen and the more it'll become, or the more organized it'll be before making that landfall within the next 24 hours. So this is not far away whatsoever. This is not 48 hours away. This is not 72 hours. This is less than 30 hours away from possibly making landfall. This thing can very well strengthen that fast. So let's go ahead and check that out. And let's go check the tracks here. Let's go ahead and check all these tracks out. These are not the real tracks. It's actually showing the tracks and the central pressure here. So as we go ahead and check this out, it is expected to possibly make a landfall in between the Carolina border. So it could very well either hit North Carolina, South Carolina, or maybe like right on the border. But either way, if you are in the Carolinas, you are expected to get tropical downpours, flash flooding, down trees, strong winds anywhere, especially if you live close to the coast as well. So preferably Myrtle Beach, and areas in the southern coast of South Carolina or North Carolina. You guys definitely want to be on the lookout for this, because obviously it's not going to be a hurricane, not going to be a super duper powerful high-end tropical storm. This could very well either be a tropical depression, or it could very well possibly be a weaker tropical storm. That's exactly why we are urging for this new update here. So excited for this new update so we can see, oh, is this thing actually continuing to strengthen? And if so, how fast is it strengthening? So we are not expecting this to be a super low pressure, central pressure, but we are expecting it to get to possibly that 1,000, maybe 1,008 millibar point there. See, the next 48 hours, it's going to be all the way in the mid-Atlantic. This is technically a slow-moving system right now. This is where it'll be in the next 24 hours right here. So yeah, definitely gonna see this thing kind of possibly somehow even show getting to 1,004 millibars, 1,003 millibars, 1,005 millibars there. So we're just gonna have to wait and see as we continue to move on in the next coming hours. So next 48 hours, this thing's gonna be on a slower trend now, but as we continue on the next updates by tomorrow, it'll be moving at a faster rate. Wind shear. So this is actually where this system is right now. This is general vicinity. Very little shear in general. We are seeing some strong shear to the north, and to the west, and obviously to the south. But right in this general vicinity where the system will be, the low pressure system, it's going to have very little shear surrounding this. And as we move on into now the next 12 hours here, still very little shear in the general vicinity of where this low pressure system will be, and even to the north of this low pressure system. So basically the exact track is going to see very little shear as well. We're not really seeing more than 30 knots here, which is actually very favorable at this point, or not very favorable, but favorable in general for seeing some continuation, the continuing of a trend of continuation of seeing this strengthening trend, or preventing it from weakening extremely fast or taking it apart. And even as it does possibly make that landfall between the Carolinas, very little shear where this system is going to be. As you see, this is going to have very little shear basically the whole time. So shear is not a problem at this point. Let's go and check the new GFS model run. Here we have the system right here next 6 hours here. Low pressure system moving further off the coast. So because you see this thing, the reason why this thing's not strengthening super fast is because this low pressure system just got off the coast of Florida. Like we saw in my morning update, the low pressure was in the middle of Florida. Obviously, it can't really strengthen at that point. And as soon as it got off the coast of Florida, it became an invest. So this is showing that it's going to be strengthening awfully fast and awfully soon. Could very well see maybe a weekend or weaker side tropical storm. We're going to be seeing some really heavy downpours in these areas, as you see. And as we continue to move on, we're going to possibly see this getting up to 1,009 millibars. Likely in the next 18 hours, it's going to be skinning the coast and making the first bands to arrive in the U.S. soil and the U.S. coast. In the next 24 hours, this could very well be bringing downpours, and after the landfall, could be affecting the Carolinas in a very bad way. Going to bring flash flooding. These areas have gotten enough rain the past coming days, and this is going to pile on that issue here with the coronavirus. This is going to pile on the issues. And this could possibly bring, of course, downpours as well for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Let's go and check out the Cmc Model here, because this is close enough to use it. As you now look here, the low pressure system at 1,009 millibars here, so it is possibly going to continue to strengthen. As right now, it is at 1,012 millibars, so this could possibly very well strengthen as it continues on that trend where the low pressure is off the coast. And as you see, it could possibly get to 1,007 millibars there, 1,005, and it could possibly get to the lowest depth of right now, 1,005 millibars based on the NAND3 cam model. And can bring the outer bands in the next, less than the next 24 hours here. So by tomorrow in the afternoon, we can start seeing our first bands throughout these areas. And the Carolinas from Myrtle Beach, parts of southern near Wilmington, you guys can definitely get really heavy rain. And by the next 24 hours, exactly in the 24 hours, we can possibly have that U.S. landfall there. Official center moving over the U.S. with that low pressure is now moving into northern South Carolina near Myrtle Beach there, that northern coast there, and that's going to bring a ton of rain. But of course, it will be a lot faster moving than it is net right now. As you see, it's kind of moving really slow at this point, but we'll be moving out very fast actually, which is really good. We'll be arriving next that far coastal area the next 16 hours there, and they'll be moving out for the next 25 hours. So it'll be a bit less than 12 hours of rain for some areas. So that's good, but it's still tropical downpours, and tropical downpours for 12 hours straight is no good whatsoever. Could definitely have a ton of rain. Let's actually go ahead and check the Cmc model as well. I actually forgot to check out the Cmc model and other models. That's actually the wrong model there. Let's go ahead and check that out really quickly here. Let's go ahead and check out the Cmc. So here it is in the next 12 hours, bringing that really heavy rain across the coast of Florida and Georgia. It is going to be moving through these areas. And of course, could very well make that landfall for parts of in between the Carolinas. So this could either make a landfall for South Carolina or North Carolina. In my opinion, I think it's more favorable for South Carolina based on the location where it is. I don't think it's going to be taking that turn like this necessarily. I think it's just going to go really straight up like that towards South Carolina. And that's going to either way bring a ton of rain throughout these areas, no matter exactly where that precise location or that precise U.S. landfall will be. But either way, we're going to be seeing a ton of flash flooding. Let's go check out the winds here. Current winds, we are seeing really less than 28 knots at this point. So, of course, not seeing those tropical depression winds yet. If not, it would be a tropical depression. But, and let's we still got to wait for the next update at 3 a.m. But as we know, in the next 12 hours, we can very well likely possibly have 36 or higher knots. And right here, where that little tip of the L is, we are seeing close to even 40 knots at this point here. We're going to be seeing 1,008 millibars. And before the landfall, it's going to bring quite the strong wind throughout the coastal areas. And could very well, of course, with the saturated soil, take down trees, uproot trees, could take down power lines. It's going to be just a huge, big mess. Check out the Vorticity Signature really quickly here. We are going to be seeing a bit more of a vorticity signature here, or cyclonic rotation. So we are going to be seeing a bit more of a tropical system like vorticity signature than we saw this morning. So this is also going to be showing that increase of possibilities for seeing a higher, let's just say higher wind gusts, and just it's going to be a lot more organized. Of course, you want it to be more organized if you want a system to continue on this trend. To possibly, obviously, the more organized it is, the bigger the possibility it has to strengthen. All depends on the conditions there. And as you see, it's going to be quite a lot of rotation here, though. If we look at it earlier this morning, it did not look like this whatsoever, and it has a circular rotation that we need to see for some systems like this, and it's showing that. So it does seem to be a lot more organized in the future. And we look at the rainfall totals, could possibly have 3 to 5 inches of rain. So this is definitely nothing to joke about here. Definitely be seeing a huge issue at this point. Whether it's going to be a tropical storm or not, we're going to be seeing a lot of flash flooding, uprooted trees, and power outages. Also, we can relate to possibly for severe weather and tornadoes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys, and bye.